What's up, guys? This is the second episode of my new podcast. It's called Justin with Justin Birch. All right. First episode was a success. You know, you guys interacted with it pretty well. You guys were coming back to me saying how much you like the podcast. And, you know, I appreciate all that. Now, you know, this is our second episode. Well, my second episode. I keep forgetting it's literally just my podcast. And, you know, and today I got two new guests on, man. So, you know, if you two want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, you can. Man, you are good. You are getting good at this. All right.
I'm Grant Bruce. I'm 19. Moved here to Tennessee about 4 years ago.
Where are you originally from?
Originally from California. Southern Cal.
Yeah. I did not know that until now.
Yep.
I did not know that literally until now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about 45 minutes east of LA.
Dang. That explains how we get along
pretty,
so well.
Yeah. Pretty congested in the city, but we were always traveling and stuff. And parents came out here one time for a 50th anniversary, I believe, 50th birthday. And they just decided my freshman year of high school. So we just drove out here. And
I mean, it's a good time to move, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good landing spot for your freshman year. Yeah. Well, welcome to Tennessee. Even though you've been here for literally like 5 years now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, let me be quiet. Your turn, man.
My name's Dallin Steele. I'm 21 years old, and I play college football. That's about it.
You build like a college football player too, so you
just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit my ass. You definitely play some college football.
Before we start, is it cool if I pray us in?
Yeah. I told you that already.
All right, let's remove our hats. If that's cool with y'all. Y'all
switch that camera.
y'all cool with that? All right, here we go. You ready? All right. That's all right. We'll make it. All right. Lord Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for Justin inviting us to come onto this podcast and be able to share some wisdom with this generation. Lord, I pray that you allow us to speak with biblical wisdom and clarity and with confidence. Lord, I pray that this goes well, that we can affect everybody watching. Lord, we love you and we thank you. We say all these things in your glorious name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All right, question number one. You know, since we just want to go ahead and get things kicked off. Man, I feel like it's been a while since I've done this. But you know what, man? That would mean I've been out of touch. So, you know, I just wanted to ask you guys, you know, the first question. You know, obviously, you know, we've all been through some tough breakups in our day. At least I think so. Some people, they've had lucky out here. You know, they've had pretty well breakups because there's such thing as a good breakup, you know, where, you know, you can just move on with life and not have it just like bamboozle you. But, you know, what's the worst way someone has broken up with you guys?
again, I was thinking about this beforehand, but I really haven't been truly broken up with.
Oh, so you've had good then.
I mean, there's been fading on her side that has like led up to it, and I feel just like off. I'm like, all right, it's not the same as normal, or I feel like sometime in the future we're gonna like, whether they're leaving somewhere or they're just family, whatever the deal is, just feel like something wasn't clicking. You know, it kind of faded, but there were some times where another guy would come around and I would feel a little skeptical about it, and I would say something about it and nothing would change. So, but breakup wise, I mean, I've had one real relationship, and that was like a year and 2 months. That was like sophomore year till like middle of junior year of high school. And girl was going off to college and I was still a junior. I just didn't feel like it was right. Didn't feel like God was calling me to stay with that. And dude, I've learned so much ever since then. I mean, I've tried every time a girl comes around, I'll try to have a girlfriend, but definitely a lot of learning, a lot of reality, a lot of hurt. And so I will say, yeah, there's a lot of reality checks that I've witnessessed, but
I'd like to say that you've had good so far.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Blessed to have it pretty well. I not that I know of, I haven't been cheated on. I mean, I don't. Not that I know.
They never know. It's okay.
Right? Yeah. Not that I know.
I wouldn't put too much thought into it. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say never.
It might have you tweaking. I promise.
Right. Yeah.
This age, bro. It be having some people tweaking. I promise you, man. How about you, man?
So, most of you that don't know me, so I'm a virgin at 21 years old. I'll start off here. Most of you guys don't know that, but I am, and I've never been in a solid relationship. I've been through a lot of failed talking stages, and that's mostly...
Should be like that.
It is.
It'd be like that, sure.
All through high school, I wasn't really too focused on relationships. I was really focused on just playing ball and making it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was.
But I'm not going to dive too deep into this last one because just out of respect for her, I don't have any ill emotion toward her at all. But the last one stung pretty good. It was a couple of months ago. We'd been talking for probably about a month and a half, 2 months, and it was going fairly well. And it was different because me and her weren't intimate at all. And I was in my walking stage with the Lord at the time, pretty heavy, and I was looking at her biblically for sure. And I had no lustful intention toward this woman at all. And she had sat me down. It was real late at the time, and I was going to take her to one of the spots that I commonly would talk to Jesus at. It was a spot that meant a lot to me, and I was planning on taking her there because she was about to go on vacation, and I wanted to sit down and talk to her before she left. So we sat there and we talked, and I could tell she was kind of off, and I asked her, I was like, hey, do you want to continue pursuing this? And she said no, and I was like, okay. And for some reason, the Lord just put in my mind, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, I knew God was going to snap me back into reality at some point. And we got back where we were in the beginning, and she sat me down and talked to me. And moral of the story, she guilt-tripped herself out of being with me. She basically sat me down and told me that I was too good, that I was 21, I was a virgin, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, and that she had done all those things. And that means that I was too good, basically. That I was a one in a million, you know? And that hit me pretty good because as a man that strives to have a family one day and to have a relationship centered around Christ, it definitely hit me pretty good. And I drove after that. I did everything I could to keep her in my life.
I mean, it sounds like you kind of gotta do what you can. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit.
There wasn't a whole lot you could do.
Nah, there kind of was not a lot you can do.
It really made you question like what this generation has come to, because you feel like you're hitting every single check mark, you know, and you're trying to do as much as you can. Especially, I'm a man of God, I would say. And
I think about it like this too. I mean, because this is actually one of the things that I actually wrote down. I think the partner that you choose is based on what you prioritize in your life, basically.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I don't think a lot of people factor that into whenever they pick a partner. It's kind of why a lot of people don't really last anymore, because they don't really focus on what really they're aligning with. Like, they don't really focus on what their partner aligns with, and they don't really match what they're aligning with. Because, you know, I think that's a very big thing. Like, even like a small example, you know, I work out, so I would want a woman who works out a fair amount.
It would be called, biblically, it would be called being equally yoked with somebody.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I'm just being like realistic to where like I know that, hey, like if I were to get with someone who doesn't work out, she maybe will.
She wouldn't understand.
Yeah, she wouldn't understand. She might resent me. She might think I'm doing other things when no, I'm just working out. So you know,
absolutely,
you gotta get with people who really like understand. Yeah, basically your vision. You kind of just gotta help people. You need people who can understand that as well.
And another thing,
or at least
too,
try to.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a willing guy. Like, I mean, you just gotta be like willing.
You gotta be able to prioritize, you know, and to come to terms with things.
Exactly. I didn't ask you to be perfect, or I'm not asking you to like everything I like. I just want you to be like willing to understand where I'm coming from in regards to why I have these things in my life.
Absolutely, especially with the career path that I am trying to pursue. I want to play. The ultimate goal and dream is to play professional football. That's always been the goal, and I train 4 days a week. And the biggest thing that comes up whenever I'm talking to women is, what do you do for work? And right now I'm very blessed to have the family that supports me, and they support me through that, because at this moment in time between my lifting and training schedule, I don't really have time to have a full-time job. And for me to even get a part-time job somewhere, it would have to be third shift. And if I want to prioritize rest and recovery, that's not going to work either.
Yeah.
But
I mean, having a good support system, it definitely does wonders.
Absolutely.
It definitely does wonders. I mean, it's not really something that I personally can relate to, because, you know, I'm someone who kind of has to juggle all that together. I mean, but I mean, over the years, I've learned how to keep all that together. I mean, it's very difficult, trust me. I mean, but I mean, hey, if you got that support system, hey, take advantage of it. Which is, it comes to like one of my other quotes that I wrote down. See, I think a lot of people, they don't take advantage of their advantages. See, I almost dropped my mic by accident. See, look, I almost dropped the mic even without the quote. But no, you kind of I hope that you're taking advantage of your advantages.
Absolutely.
And it's something that you have to do. I mean, it doesn't make you a bad person. No, it just means that, you know, you're just working with what you were given. I mean, heck,
I'm very grateful for
Yeah.
the position I'm in.
Yeah, I'm definitely still trying to figure out what my advantages are, so I know how to work with those. I mean, Parker, I mean, he over here, he be in his bag when it comes to this computer editing and stuff. He knows that, so he's taking advantage of that very, very well. I mean, I give him credit for that all the time. I mean, you see him, he be traveling like a mug, and that's all because, you know, he's very good at editing stuff. I mean, he really be like in his bag like the quiet kid at school. But yeah, I mean, you got to keep taking advantage of your advantages. As long as you do that, man, I'm sure you're going to get to where you want to be at.
And to loop full circle back to where you start with that question, I feel like a big thing with this generation is they're not quite ready to settle down. And I mean, me being 21, I'm still fairly young, you know, and I strive to have a family one day. Am I saying I need to get married right now? Absolutely not, because I know I have a lot more growing to do, and I need to be able to be in a place that I can support a wife and family, you know, and I know right now financially I'm nowhere near that. But the biggest thing with, I mean, me chasing that is people can't, it's really hard to commit to something like that, because you have to put a lot of faith into it, and you have to be able to believe that person and to be able to trust that person that one day it will work out.
Yeah. And, you know, I think like nowadays, but I don't think it's really like people aren't ready to settle down. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think people are honest about not being ready to settle down, just for the fact that they don't want to lose what they got going on. Like, I mean, I'm fairly honest about not wanting to settle down right now, because honestly, I mean, I don't really see the point in me personally. So now, if you want to settle down, trust me, I ain't arguing at all. Matter of fact, man, I'm going to be happy for you if and when you guys do. But me personally, I don't think I'm going to settle down anytime soon, just because, you know, it's not really, I don't really see the benefit of me doing it right now. Now, to each his own. I mean, hey, if you guys want to settle down, I ain't going to stop you guys at all. Matter of fact, I'm going to be rooting for you in the crowd. I'm going to be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But me personally, absolutely not. I can't do it, bro.
Absolutely.
Nah. But you know what, man? I want you guys to ask a question real quick. Do you guys have any questions that you maybe want to ask?
You got anything, Grant? Anything off the top of your head? Go ahead.
Yeah, Grant.
So I've been out of high school for about a year, and man, have I seen myself change for the better and learn a lot of self-control and a lot of just life lessons, just even like basic, like monthly bills, like getting used to stuff, having a truck payment, like all that, you know, basic stuff going into like, hey, the real world. But so I've been graduated for about a year now, coming into this summer. And my question is, when you were 19, where were you at? What would you have changed? And if you have any regrets, I guess, it could be with relationship, financial. What advice would you give me based on your 19-year-old self?
When I was 19, I think I was definitely, when I was 19, oh my goodness, bro, he'll tell you right now, I fucking sucked. I fucking sucked as a 19-year-old. I'm not even going to lie to you, bro. Like, I genuinely feel like I couldn't win when I was 19. I mean, that's like, and, you know, we can all laugh at it now because, you know, like, because he knows, like, I wasn't shit. All right? And I mean, like, when I say I wasn't shit, like, I felt like I genuinely had, like, no, like I had like no grasp of my life at that point. Like I mean, I was
No direction.
no, I feel like I had literally no direction. I mean, me and him, we was working a day job together. We were just. I mean, I had a lot more time to rest because I felt like I was working less. I mean, I was probably at my biggest. Now I ain't weigh as much as I did now, but I was definitely at my biggest. Like if we're talking about belly size, but I mean, I just genuinely felt like I had no control. But that was really like. That was probably the first year of my life where I was actually it was probably whenever I was 20, but when I was 19, I think I just didn't really pay attention to myself, I guess. I just tried to blame everything else. And that's kind of where you have to like stay pinpoint at 19 years old. You just have to acknowledge that hey, everything that happens to you is your fault. Basically, I mean, you can't really blame anyone else. Like me, I can't blame my ex, or I can't blame racism or the system. No, everything's my fault at the end of the day. And you know, whenever I realize that, you give yourself the most power to change your life. So you know, you just gotta really just blame everything on you. Even stuff that maybe definitely probably was not your fault. You still got try to figure out some way to blame yourself because you can only fix you at the end of the day. Right. And as I learned that, I didn't learn this at 19. I definitely learned this whenever I was 20. Whenever I started to like really like figure out who the hell I was. I mean, everything just started to take off at that point because like I was definitely focused on improving myself instead of just proving myself.
Right.
That's kind of the biggest thing that people got to realize. You focus on improving instead of proving. Because, because at that point, you're just going to be auditioning yourself for the rest of your life. And that can be very draining on somebody. So, I mean, I'm just focused on, what you got going on and understanding who you are, basically. And more specifically, basically who you are whenever you look in the mirror. Because you can't run away from that person whenever it's 11 o'clock at night and you're laying down. I'm talking about those hours, okay? Like, you just want to be comfortable that you can be by yourself because a lot of people who don't really know who they can't really be alone. Like it's dangerous if they are alone,
right?
So you just gotta be someone who that hey man, if I'm by myself I'm okay because I got me at the end of the day. So that's just something that that's just something that you can really think about at 19. And, you really have a head start in life if you can figure that stuff out at 19 years old. Because, most people don't figure this stuff out until a little bit later on in life. And after they put themselves through the ringer, if that's the phrase. I don't know if that's the phrase or not. But yeah, that's usually when people figure that stuff out. It's when it's a little bit too late and they've already done some irreversible damage. I'm talking about having kids or being married. I mean, you don't want to put anyone else through that stuff, especially not yourself at the end of the day. Because guess what? If you can't help you, how you going to help other people?
Exactly.
So, it's just definitely something to think about. I mean, you just got to think about, who you're doing this for at the end of the day. Right. And as long as you think about stuff like that, you're going to be just fine, especially you, man, at 19, bro. You way ahead of what I was at 19. Oh, my goodness, bro. Like, there's a phrase that people use, like, there's genuinely levels to this shit, bro.
Yeah.
And you are a couple of levels higher than me, trust me.
And a lot of it, I worked on a lot of it, but a lot of it I was just blessed and given with. I mean, I have a great family at home, a great job. A lot of it just came with being surrounded by good people, which just appeared. But, of course, my dad has to give off a certain, I guess, body language to attract respectable people and surround himself by good people, which then I'm surrounding myself by. So it's kind of this chain of his responsibility is to raise his kids, and he wants to make us look good. And in fact, just do better than he did. That's what every dad should want, is to see their kids excel. And I mean, he did an amazing job, and I still have work to do, and I still have a lot of learning and growing to do. But it's really just be grateful and thankful for what you got and know how to advance with it. And just be mature enough to grow up. Like you got to face some realities sometimes. And
Oh, absolutely.
you know, if you really like start getting into the word, I got into the word in October, and just being, I've seen myself get much slower to anger and a lot more self-control, a lot more like, I guess just like steady paced. And dude, everything just unfolded. I just bought a truck. I'm very blessed with how quickly life is changing. But then it's really easy to get caught up in, I wish I would have, or I wish I can have.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
just,
usually where you have regrets if you know that you didn't give everything you had. That's usually the biggest moment where you have regrets. I mean, even small stuff like, like being an athlete, people look back, oh man, I wish I could did this because, it could probably change the trajectory of where my career would have went it. That's why, you just got give everything you got always. Because you won't regret anything then, trust me. I mean, hey, you can still lose, but I promise you won't regret what you did because you gave it 100%.
Yeah, you can't take anything back. What?
Oh, you're good. I think he was trying to get the mic.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
I was just going to say I was watching another podcast recently. It's called Built for More. Really good if you're listening to the word and really trying to get into it. It's led by Pastor Joby Martin down there in Florida. He had Tim Tebow on probably a couple of weeks ago, and he said that one of his biggest regrets, or one of his biggest fears anyway, is to get to heaven well rested. And as a man of God, if you were really trying to strive, I mean, even in everyday life, like doing everything you can to glorify Him and to be able to do things that you really enjoy, just doing everything to the fullest extent and not having any regrets in that way, But I was listening to y'all, and that's what I got out of it and what I wanted to put in.
And, and Grant, you were talking about your dad just now. I want to ask you too, because, I wasn't really one who had really anything close to an idealistic situation, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's not really something I'm like sad about, but, what was it like, growing up with your dad throughout your life?
I mean, unbelievably just a different kind of man that I've never, just growing up, of course, you have your dad, but then, you get friends in high school and elementary school, just going up the chain. I know it's kind of backwards, but just being around your friends and seeing what kind of role model he sets and what a family should look like, and just like having everything under control and just having a well-set life and well-set goals. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. He was a mortgage officer, so did home loans, and we moved a little bit, but I mean, we would go up in the mountains every once a month or something. I remember as a kid, he would take us up, teach us how to fish, eventually drive some, do some working on vehicles every here and there. But I mean, I was young and I was just focused on my friends. I grew up playing Little League baseball. So that was my thing, was just baseball, because that's what he did. And he just put it on us as like, that's the sport he knows, so he's just going to pass it down. And we ended up being good at it. I've tried other sports too, but that's just kind of what we all stuck with. Met so many close friends, families, had so much vacations and memories, and traveled. And freaking one of my best friends, Adam, he moved out here with us like the next year. I mean, just it's crazy how life can change with how you grow up in your childhood, and that forms you.
Yeah, and that was another question I was going to ask you. As someone who didn't really have his dad through the make or break years, I consider like your teenage years the make or break years. Like whenever you're like 13 to 18, I feel like those are the make or break, especially in high school. Do you really think like having him like involved in your life, it definitely shaped up your identity?
Absolutely. I feel like I would not hold myself to the, I guess, standard, and just like honoring your last name is the biggest thing. Like, I'm a Bruce, and I hold myself to that standard and do nothing but excel in that, benefit it, you know, be more of a family person, be more of a, you know, humble, you know, just anything that you can to just know your role, especially as a man. Like, that's my biggest thing. Once I graduated, I'm like, all right, I didn't go to college. I tore my ACL senior year. So I'm like, okay, I can't go to college right now. And I was never looking for bigger college. I was going to go to the Vol State. But, you know, when life happens, you just got to adjust. And, dude, I've grown up a lot, and I've had a lot of reality checks. And I'm just blessed for the struggle, because I would not be the man I am today without it. And I see nothing but progress and nothing but, you know, head down, blame no one but yourself, you know? And, yeah, help your family, dude. Do your part. Brothers, you know, Garrett's my brother. We want to get closer and closer. He recently became single. I've been single for 2 years. I'm also a virgin. I've just been really trying to figure out my identity. And, dude, when I saw the opportunity for Garrett, now that he's single, I'm like, dude, we can grow so much as family. And that's the center of basically everything. You got friends or everything, but y'all are blood. Me and him are blood. Like, you can't break that. And there's nothing better than building a life with your family. And not only like this, the brotherly connection that you have, it's just, it can be so strong. And it sucks to see certain brothers and families just not be so close. And it's like, you have so much potential and you have so much strength, and your biggest push and partner and helper is right there next to you. So just so much of a backbone to have.
I genuinely wish that I had those sound effects on that soundboard right now, because I don't think you know how much of an answer that you just cooked up just now. That was a great answer that you just gave. And, you know, that actually just went to one of my points. Y'all can tell me if I'm lying right now because of what Bruce was just saying. He was just explaining about how him having his dad in his life, it definitely helped his development versus, you know, someone like me who really wasn't heavily involved with his father. And definitely kind of feel like it stunted my growth. So I think, like, you know, in my personal opinion, you can just call me wrong, and, you know, you guys can text my phone right now and just tell me to shut the fuck up if I'm lying. But I think, you know, like, definitely who you have kids with and who you marry, it kind of dictates a lot of shit.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm just like saying though, because like I feel like a lot of these people be putting themselves through a lot when they really didn't have to, just off the fact of like who they marry or who they have kids with. Like, I don't, and, you know, and I'm really speaking to my women right now. Like, I don't think you guys really know the magnitude of having a man's kid. I mean, there is really no bigger honor that you can give a man than to, you know, to continue his bloodline. And I don't think a lot of people, especially women, talk about that, and it kind of scares me because I don't even know if they know that.
Right.
Because I'm like, bro, you guys can save yourself so much trouble if you didn't have that man's kid. Like, I mean, I know a lot of women right now who are my age. Heck, I seen it growing up. I know a lot of women who really put themselves through a lot because they had kids with someone who wasn't really that interested in them. I'm just being real. And, you know, they could have saved themselves so much trouble if they just didn't really entangle in that manner. This is why I really do my homework on whoever I'm pursuing. You know, do that motherfucking homework. I don't care. Yeah. I do not give a damn how much you like somebody. You always do that homework, bro. Doing that homework can save your life, because liking someone is not enough. Yeah. Unpopular opinion, but liking somebody is not enough. The word like has got a lot of people fucked up out here. Like, you know, because people be having kids. Some people be getting burnt. Some people be getting robbed. I know it happens to some people. Trust me, like, it genuinely happens to some people, bro. Like, some people be traumatized. Some people get beat on. Like, this stuff that happens to people who they claim that they like. So, like, you just can't just like somebody.
I know we were just talking about this a second ago, but I am going to plug it. I think a big thing with this generation is materialistic and look value. Like, I feel like a lot of people look at each other lustfully and they don't like really consider who the man is. Like you said, they go out and they have children with men that they don't want to be with, right? But the big thing is, yes, that person might look good. Yeah, you have to be attracted to somebody, of course. But they also look at materialistic things too.
Okay, see, look, there's 2 points to that. First of all, a real big thing in relationships nowadays is that a lot of people romanticize potential.
Absolutely. You should never date potential.
Instead of being someone where they're at. That was my biggest problem in my last relationship, okay? Because me and the girl who I was with, you know, we talked about, you know, where she wanted to go, and I expected that right then and there. That was my biggest issue. Right. So that's where I genuinely fucked up at. Second thing, lust is really a two-sided coin. This is really the thing I was talking about where you guys are really going to like really open your eyes at. Obviously, you know, lust, you know, we talk about it most of the time in a man's space, right? Like every time, most of the time I hear about it, we talk about it with men, right? But we never talk about how lust is the only thing that's keeping some women in the game. Right. And here's what I mean by that. And this is what I mean by that. Some women, like, they just have no sense of being a genuine good person to where all they have is their looks. That's the only thing that's keeping them in the game. That's genuinely the only thing. And I don't think a lot of people speak about that enough. Because guess what? Women can be lustful too. No one talks about that enough to where they only have their looks. That's the only thing that's keeping them in the game, which is why they can't keep nothing. And if they do keep something, then the guy's not doing enough homework. He gets to enjoying, you know, having a beautiful woman by his side. But being beautiful or being pretty is not enough. Like Parker said, he said this literally like 2 years ago, and it's stuck with me ever since. I want a beautiful woman, not just a pretty face. And when he said that shit, bro, like Parker's over here nodding his head because he didn't think I remembered that. No, I listened to you, Parker. You literally bodied that quote, bro. Like, I've never forgotten that quote, bro. And when you said that, bro, it changed my whole perspective. Because I'm like, I've never really thought of it like that. Obviously, you know, I've always wanted, you know, more substance in a woman, but I never thought of it like that. Because, like, you know, I think, you know, the same way men got to prove themselves, a woman's got to prove herself too. To the person that she wants. And that's not crazy to say. At least I don't think so. I don't mind proving myself as a man.
Absolutely.
We have to do it every day.
You have
which
to.
is not a problem at all. But like, I mean, that just goes without saying. But a lot of women feel like they don't have to prove themselves. They feel like they should be getting chased. Right. When that literally never works at all. All right, if you got to chase somebody, that means that they're running away. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll pursue, but I'm never going to chase. Heck, as a matter of fact, I think the relationship lasts longer when the girl likes the guy more. And that's a hill that I'm willing to die on because, you know, and a lot of girls, they argue the opposite. But they never think about in which relationships do they give the most effort. They'll always have more options. Exactly. So when she likes you more, you know, she's not really paying attention to the other options. Mm-hmm. And we know that effort's not always appreciated. Especially when the man tries to give effort to a woman. Heck, I've literally seen a lot of women get the ick because they got flowers. That happens for a man who probably liked her more than she liked him.
It's really unfortunate.
Exactly.
It really is.
Sometimes it look like literally like you like, and they expect a man to jump through hoops. And that shit's never gonna
like a jester, you know.
Yeah, and the hoops are never going to end. They never talk about that. Because, you know, they are just worried about what they could take from the guy who they really don't like. But when they really like a man, that's when they're at their most giving, they're most willing. That's when they're most willing to align with what you got going on. Like, because, you know, I seen this all the time. All right? I seen a girl try to get serious with a dude who genuinely ain't shit. And because they like him more, like, they are willing to, like, put themselves through a lot of
trauma,
a lot of trauma, a lot of turmoil, only because like they are like as a woman, you kind of have to be afraid to lose that man.
Well, but women they're meant to rely on their
but for a man to really be at his best with a woman, you kind of can't be afraid to lose her, Because when you're afraid to lose a woman, that's when you're the most like controlling. And I mean like controlling like the toxic way. I'm not talking about the controlling that they be talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like actually toxic. You know, you grow more insecure when you're afraid to lose a woman. I'm speaking from experience. All right, because I know. Because, you know, I was at the point where I was afraid to lose this girl. And because of that, I started showing more toxic traits. Like, that's what it kind of turned me into. And, you know, I don't want to go back to that person. So I just kind of don't ever want to be afraid to lose somebody. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm tripping. But, hey, you guys can tell me. They're probably going to argue that point anyways, but I don't really care. But, yeah, I think, you know, lust is the only thing that's keeping a lot of women in this game.
Well, like I said, looks fade. Looks are not permanent. And like you said, a beautiful woman, you know.
Of course, but they're taking advantage of their advantages
Absolutely.
that they have right now.
I can tell you.
Which, hey, you're supposed to. I mean, you're a woman. That's literally what you're supposed to do.
I can tell you right now that whenever I look at a woman, it takes me months before I even consider. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a very visual person. I like to, I like to survey is what I do. I like to look. I like to read the room.
Do that
you know?
homework.
And like you said, do the homework. And you also said like, you think that it's better off when the women like the men more. It's
Absolutely.
easier. It's easier to keep them.
Yeah,
but I know I keep going back to this, but this is biblically is a very big portion of who I am. Being equally yoked, for those that do not know, biblically, equally yoked is two ox pulling something, and a yoke is something that keeps them together. So if they're pulling a plow, if one is not giving as much effort, the other has to pull more. And that's what it means to be equally yoked. And yes, you are never going to be perfectly 50-50.
That's never. That's
you're
never
going to be
This-
50-50.
That doesn't exist. So whenever people say they can like each other equally, that's literally impossible.
It's impossible.
It's
You're
literally
never going to be
impossible.
50-50.
Either
but-
I've always liked someone more, they've always liked me.
As the man, you should always be the one to lead and provide.
Oh, absolutely. But you have to have someone who's willing to follow.
Absolutely. Yes. They have to be willing to put in the effort.
Exactly. Like sometimes, you know, I may need an assist. Sometimes I may need you to score. I'm just speaking in basketball terms here. Like sometimes, like, hey, I may need you.
You'll be
take that
having a bad
steering
day,
wheel.
and she might not be. She's got to be able to pick up the slack, and so do you.
Exactly. Like sometimes, sometimes I may need you to show me where I'm going. Other times, hey, I know exactly where I'm going. Like the best leaders know when it's time to follow.
And the big thing with men too, like men are very black and white, they're not complex at all. So just simple, like just appreciation,
Genuinely.
like just saying that you're doing
Genuinely.
a good job. That's huge.
Genuinely,
that is a huge thing.
That's like that will genuinely like whenever
That'll make a man's day, right there.
Like literally, I gave a girl who I'm not even dating a shirt. Shout out to Grace. I gave her a shirt, and she literally showed me so much appreciation, bro. I felt like it genuinely felt like, huh? I genuinely felt so good about myself just for the fact that I got so much appreciation for that, and it was something as small as that. Like, and she doesn't even know that, bro. But
We're very
like,
simple creatures.
like I'm very much simple, and that's literally like, it doesn't take a lot.
It doesn't.
They think it does, but it literally does not take a lot to literally keep that man like to choose you, because you know a lot of people don't talk about that. I mean, I think like, you know, wanting me and respecting me, that's not enough. No, you gotta choose me, and this isn't even just about dating. I'm talking about friends. You know, like I don't hang out with a lot of people, only because I know that I'm not being chosen, and that's perfectly okay. But you know, when I do think that I'm chosen, I know, and we all know, you know, when you're being chosen or not. Otherwise, I mean, I think if you're not being chosen, then you're just being managed at the end of the day.
Audition.
Yeah, that goes back to the audition. I mean,
It can't be one-sided.
No,
Can't be
I mean,
one-sided around
it can't be one side, or else literally it's just managing. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Or tolerating at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So you gotta go where you're celebrated.
Yeah.
You're not tolerating. Now you have to also celebrate them back if that's where you want to be. But
It's a commitment, and it's meant to be hard if you really want to make it to marriage. Because, newsflash, Satan hates marriage. Satan hates anything godly. So when you see yourself pursuing something well, and you guys do have your bad days and your slumps, it's an attack, and you have to be open to that, and you have to be able to deny your flesh and to not want to run and just be like, no, I chose you. You're mine. Like, I want us to soon become one. Like, it's family. That is what it all revolves around. And you will be so much happier, and you will see just in anything. It's just the thought of giving up. It's just like, as a man, like, to know that, say, no, I never gave up in this and this. Did you say you never gave up in your marriage and you married the same one girl till you died? That is like, that seems like the biggest accomplishment ever. And to see and raise your kids right. And just know that as a man, you're born to provide, protect, and everything, but you need to understand you will be hit with things you don't know how to handle. And that's why you come back to this, because that has the answers, because we are just mortal humans. We don't have it all in our mind. We can't fix everything. We can't fix everyone. So it's just the thought of, look, you need to put the things you can control in someone else's hands. And just people that are following through Christ, they are true help and will never want to pull you down. And it comes down to love. Everything in life, that person will always seek love. Whether it's like even just money is always you. If there was no one on the world and it was just you, you're not seeking money. Like, you're always seeking approval from other people. Everything revolves around, oh, what do they think about me? Oh, how will they view me? And that's where it's like, if you just like sit back and you're like, dude, this is me. I'm going to improve what I need to improve on. And I'm just going to try and live the most God-centered, straightforward life that I can. You will feel so much stress come off you, and you will attract the right people. Good things attract good things. If you try and, yeah. Like,
I'm going to piggyback really quickly because, you said something about going through hard stuff. I think you guys are speaking for the biblical side. I'm speaking for more so the logical side. Right. And I think, what a lot of people aren't really saying, obviously, going to Christ. I mean, that's a good source. Obviously, I'm never going to flock on that. But the thing that I really learned is you kind of need to learn how to suffer. Exactly. And I don't think a lot of people ever learned how to suffer just because it's bad. No, you need to. And that comes with being alone. Yeah. Well, it's not even that, but this is where a lot of people in the mental health fields kind of genuinely have me fucked up here, but they don't ever talk about this because it's about understanding your capacity. That's a big word that I use whenever someone talks about mental health. It's like going through a workout, right? You'll understand exactly what I'm saying. Why do you put more heavy weights on?
To grow. Exactly.
To grow and to understand what you're capable of going through. Because, life was never about feeling better. It was always about being better.
Getting to heaven well rested?
But, yeah. Well, okay, so it's like, so me and Parker, when we were kids, all throughout high school, we used to have to walk to the bus stop, right? All right, our apartment would be right here, and the bus stop would be literally, we would have to make like a 5-minute walk to the bus stop, right? Sometimes that bus will, as soon as we turn, that bus will be right there, all right? And this is where I'm going back with this, okay? A lot of people pray to catch the bus, but they forget that they have to run to the bus stop. Exactly. So what I'm saying is, hey, if you really want to feel or be better, you still have to put a little bit of work into it. Because I'm going to speak to the biblical side right here. How do you get blessed? And here's the answer to that. You don't just get blessed by just praying. You still got to meet God halfway. And this is where a lot of folks don't really like bring up stuff like this because, I believe in hope and faith, but also you got to have faith that you're still going to do it yourself. Because, at the end of the day, especially as men, you realize very early and quickly that no one's coming to save you. Yeah. Now, obviously, praying, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm never going to be against that. But just don't forget, you still got to put in the work too. Because that's when you really gonna, seek what you are after. And guess what you're trying to obtain.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
For one,
No.
you should never be content with yourself. You
No,
should
no,
always
no.
be chasing
Oh,
to
yeah, of
grow.
course.
Because as soon as you become content, you're not going to make it anywhere.
And another word for that is comfortable.
Yes, never be comfortable. One of the greatest things that I've ever gotten from being an athlete as a coach, he told me in high school, he was like, find comfortability in being uncomfortable, because as soon as you become comfortable, you're not going to make it
I
anywhere.
literally say that all the freaking time. You just need to have a relationship with discomfort. And when you have a relationship with it, you learn how to communicate with it better. You learn how to work through it better. Anytime you feel discomfort, you can't just shut your body down, because then you're gonna like, how you gonna raise kids if you don't know how to be discomfortable?
Exactly. Because
Like-
you're going to be uncomfortable.
Exactly, like literally just like watching them grow and develop. It can be pretty discomforting. I mean, I don't know one parent who was comfortable, through all phases of their kid's life. Literally, and it's not just about you anymore. So you really can't give up then. So you really have to like learn how to effectively learn how to build up that confidence that you can, go through anything.
It really shows who you are as a man, especially whenever you become uncomfortable, because you have to push through limits. And once you get in that uncomfortable spot, how are you gonna interact with that? Are you gonna break down and stop? Or are you gonna keep pushing because you have people relying on you?
Yeah,
Even with people not in families,
Yeah,
but just
exactly.
you still have people relying
people
on
watch
you.
you all the time.
Exactly, everybody watches you.
Yeah, exactly. And and I think like a reason why like a lot of people they struggle with like some adversities because they're really not confident in who they are. And the reason why a lot of people aren't confident in who they are because one, they don't know how to be alone, and two, they never really kept promises to themselves. Because think about
people that aren't goal oriented. That's a
Well,
big thing too.
Well, but even like the biggest thing is like not keeping promises to yourself because those are the easiest ones to break and they're the hardest ones to keep because no one knows but you, and that actually takes a toll on you because when you don't keep promises to yourself, you're teaching yourself that you can't be trusted. And the biggest way to build confidence is by building evidence and having a stack of proof that you are who you say you are. Because people think it's just affirmations in the mirror when that's just bullshit. Anyone can write down some affirmations in the mirror. I can write down, "Hey, I'm 6'5". That would mean I'm 6'5". No,
Just because you say something don't mean it's real.
huh?
Just because you say something don't mean it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Like people lie all the time.
It's really common.
Exactly. People lie to me. People lie to their
Really common.
People lie to me. People lie to their parents. Heck, some people lie to God. But hey, that don't mean And I feel like these people they know exactly when they're lying. Like I can tell when somebody's lying. Okay, like even like Parker, he helps me a lot because he tries to like tell me very little white lies, and I'd be like, "Come on, bro! Like come on, bro! Like he knows." I feel like he's testing me when he's doing it too, because he's not telling me no like big ass lies. He's telling me like very small lies. Like let's say like for example, "Hey Parker, did you drink the last little bit?" He's like, "Nah, man." I was like, but then I can literally just look at his face.
Who else lives here?
Like literally, like exactly. That's exactly. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm like, gang. Like,
He's trying to keep you on your feet.
Let's just put the puzzle pieces together.
exactly. Like, but I don't think like people really like pay attention to like. Now, my personal opinion, I don't think women are liars. I think they tell a lot of temporary truths. I know it sounds crazy,
That facial expression killed
but
me.
I don't expect
Holy
them to be
cow.
honest though. Compared to a man, I don't expect them to be honest. Because think about this as men. We have the phrase, "I'm a man of my word." But I never hear women say, "I'm a woman of my word."
The thing is, unfortunately, everybody lies at some point just for
of
for self gratitude and appreciation of themselves.
But yeah, of
they do
course.
it to build themselves up.
Some people,
Even men, everybody does
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's not
everybody,
just
yeah.
women.
like
I'm
me,
just
I
saying.
try my hardest to not tell lies. I just try my hardest to tell truths that don't apply to me. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds very manipulative. Yes, it was. I would never say that. I would never say that to anybody. 'Cause
Well,
that's-
you just told everybody on the camera.
I was
so.
being sarcastic. That's just evil, man. I'm
It
petty,
is.
not evil. There's a big difference.
I wanted to tie back in to what you said earlier about meeting God halfway in the middle. A lot of people excuse their actions because they're like, oh, I believe in God. But the thing is, too, is that there's a difference between believing in God and living through Christ. There's a big difference, and I pulled it up here. This is in James 2. It's verse 17. It says, in the same way, faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by actions, is dead. And then 19, it follows up with, show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe that there is one God, good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. So, yes, you can go out and have all these lustful and fleshful temptations. Everybody loves to live through the flesh, but God tells you not to glorify. He tells you not to glorify the flesh in anything that you're doing, and everybody thinking lustfully, going out and drinking and partying. And God gave you, he references the body as a temple. He gave you this temple to build and to glorify him through. So yes, you can go out there and commit all these, everybody sins, but you can go out there and commit all of these actions. But you need to be able to know that just because you believe in God doesn't mean that you're living through him and glorifying him in everything that you do. And that's what he wants you to do. That's what he has sent you here to do. And just like Tebow said, I mean, his biggest fear is to make it to heaven well rested.
I think another thing too is a lot of people, they're asking for these blessings, but your life also has to align with what you're praying for.
It also really depends on what your morals are and yes, praying and asking for things, but materialistic things that aren't realistic, you can't expect those for him to bless you with those things. You need to be able to have reason behind it. Like, I know when I pray for things, like, I always pray for people I care about. I always put my family first. I always thank him for everything he's done for me. And then when I'm praying for something, like asking for something, I'm still in no position. Nobody is in the position to ask him for anything because we're not worthy of that, Exactly. So whenever I ask him things, to bless me with things, I say, Lord, please bless me with this and allow me to glorify you through this, and this. If you bless me with this, I will glorify you through this, and this. So whenever I say, for example, Lord, I pray that you bless me with a wife, and I pray that I can glorify you with leading her in a Christful manner. I pray that I can have a relationship that is centered around you. I pray that I can lead my family financially and physically and spiritually. So yes, I'm asking him for things, but I'm showing him checklist by checklist. That's like, for example, being a kid and walking up and asking for an Xbox game. Okay. And you're like, okay, your dad's like, okay, it's $60. What are you going to do to work for it? And if you're a kid and you're just like, well, I'll clean out the trash. I'll clean some dishes. I'll clean my room. And he's like, okay, so you're doing things for it. God's kind of the same way. You've got to show him things that you were willing to do to make these things happen.
I want to revert back to one thing that you said. You said something about morals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of conflicted about that word because
everybody has their morals in different
here's the thing,
categories.
Right? And this is something that not a lot of people say because not a lot of people probably think about this or agree with this. I think morality is a privilege.
It also depends on how you're raised, too.
Well, I think it depends on what situation you're in because I think, you can't really say that you wouldn't do this if you've never really been in the
position to act on that.
Exactly. Like it's really all about how you're tested. That's why I say morality is a privilege. Like, for example, it's like someone saying I would never cheat on my girlfriend, but they never had a girlfriend. You can't really say that because you haven't been tested before. So how you really know what your morals are if you haven't really been tested? A lot of people really have not been tested.
That also questions your manhood too. Like if you're willing to go out of the way to disrespect your wife, or because biblically it doesn't even say that you can have a girlfriend. It immediately goes to courtship, which means wife. That's what God. Everything in this, every relationship that he talks about in this book, is wife, courtship. It's not even girlfriend.
I think that's also just logical common sense because
you should date to marry.
Yeah,
you should not date just to have fun and to go fling around and party. That's all good and fun, but at the end of the day, you're not getting anywhere with that.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't think it's the partying that's the problem. I think the problem is a lot of people don't know who they are when the lights cut on.
Absolutely.
That's the problem.
There's so
right
many
there.
songs that like say
That's
you
the
can
problem
see
right
him in a neon light, but you see him in a different light.
That's the problem right there. No,
Doug Stone.
because look,
reference.
I know a lot of great people who could go out every weekend. I know a lot of great people who can do that. Why? Because they still know exactly who they are whenever they leave. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you really still have to do the work outside of that, because escape for like 3-4 hours. Okay, that's cool and all, but you still got. What are you gonna do with the other 20? You still got. You just can't run away from who you are after that. Exactly. Yeah, because you have to go back to reality at some point, unless you just figure out a way to just freaking stay in that whole flow state, which is literally impossible. I don't know, unless you're like in Vegas or something.
So I know you were talking about like cheating on your girlfriend and your wife, technically, right?
Yeah.
So-
Either or. I mean,
Like I said, I brought my playbook. I've got basically every biblical answer to relationship questions. So I was doing a dive last night, and Malachi 2:15 came up, and it says, well, this is 15 through 16 because I continue to read, and it actually backs everything up, and it's really good. It says, has not the one God made you? You belong to him in body and spirit. And what does the one God seek? Godly offspring. So be on your guard, and do not be unfaithful to the wife of your youth. The man who hates and divorces his wife says to the Lord, the God of Israel, does violence to the one who he should protect, says the Lord Almighty. So be on your guard and do not be unfaithful. That's big. That's real big.
okay, so basically, from the perspective I was speaking, obviously I knew that you was gonna pull out the biblical notes, so I wasn't. I was gonna save that for you. But I'm just speaking from a logical perspective. I mean,
I wouldn't even say it's necessarily a logical
well, it's
perspective
more so
because
common sense, but
Everything you feel right and wrong, and you feel when you're getting places and when you're doing wrong things, and everyone feels it. You know what's right and wrong.
it's you're saying this from a fleshful perspective. Because that's technically what we are on Earth.
Yeah, of course. But I just try to speak from okay, you know what? There's just some things that you don't do, because I believe as men, as women, and as human beings, there are rules to this thing of life, and you just can't cheat life. Right. Like cheating, for example, like no pun intended, but yeah, like cheating, for example, you kind of put yourself in a very much of a bad light if you cheat on your partner, especially if that news gets put out. Now, sometimes I hate to say this, but some people enable cheating because they go back to that same situation with that same person, and I don't think that's very much talked about. Because there's some people out here who, if you would take them back even after doing some of that stuff, they're going to keep on doing it just because you're enabling it.
Right. Yeah, that's why I've never gone back to an ex where there's no reason to. You're putting yourself as setting your standards so much lower.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. Your standards are being lower. Yeah.
You got to have respect for yourself.
No respect.
It's a very big indicator of self-respect.
You also need to be able to surround yourself with brothers and sisters that are willing to hold you accountable. And the big thing with this generation, too, especially people that didn't grow up playing sports or anything, they didn't have that kind of coach figure in their life. A lot of people, if you're trying to hold them accountable from a sense of love, they think that you're attacking them.
Exactly.
They think that you're trying to offend them. And I'm like, no, I love you. I'm trying to make you better. That's why I'm telling you this. But a lot of people take it as offensive, just being offensive and me attacking you. And I'm like, that's not even where I'm coming from at all.
Well, here's the thing about accountability, right? And I said this on a episode of Birch Relations with Haley and Marissa. Shout out to those two. But I literally said this on the episode with them. I said accountability is not an attack; it's a mirror. And if you don't like looking in the mirror, obviously accountability is gonna sound like they see you as the freaking devil at that point. Because when you tell people who they are, they genuinely look at you like you're the devil. Right. And
it's because people don't want to be questioned what they're doing. They want to do their own thing and be independent. They don't want anybody to tell them otherwise.
Well, they think being independent is just living the life and not have people question the bullshit. If you exhibit bullshit, but no, you should be questioned about it, because I think obviously for some people whichever God you believe in, because there's people of different cultures who watch my podcast, so I mean So like whatever God you believe in, like I'm not even talking about that at this point. I'm talking about like, hey, you need people to hold you accountable. You said athletes, right? It wasn't even the coaches that was holding us accountable most of the time. It was the teammates.
Yeah.
So if you really got like a real good brotherhood like that, you really were being held accountable because they was trying to get the same thing that you were, man. They was trying to get that win.
And if you're not living up to that expectation, all you're doing is dragging people behind. If you're not trying to grow yourself, all you're doing is letting yourself down and letting the people down around you.
Well, here's the thing, right? If you're not being challenged, you're being neglected.
That's right.
Because, someone who really cares about you, they want you to grow into their best self. This is why a lot of people date people who know that they shouldn't be dating because they don't care, because they won't really care about who they are, and they won't really care about who they are, and they like people who don't care about who they are because they don't really care about themselves. And because they know they don't care about who
They don't have
really
any drive.
Yeah, that, and because they don't care about who they really are, they know that they're not really going to be challenged.
Yeah.
And that's a really dangerous life to live, not being challenged. Because no, you do need to be challenged, regardless of who you are. I don't give a damn if you're LeBron James. Even he still gets challenged at 41 years old.
Yeah.
And he's literally 41. He's the oldest player in the NBA. And people still have expectations for him, which I think is hilarious. That makes him the GOAT. But that's not the point right now.
Are we LeBron glazing right now?
Absolutely.
On this podcast, is that what we're doing right now?
Listen, it is regulated, okay? It's mandatory.
What?
Anyways, okay.
The greatest of my time and the greatest of all time.
This might spark up another question for you, but this is okay.
You got this. You got this.
This is in Galatians.
We're probably going to end
5.
off of this question, by the way.
It says, so I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh, for the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit is what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not by to do whatever you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. So if you think about it that way.
So what was the question?
Well, I'm saying it could spark up another question that you may have, is what I'm saying. But that's just me bouncing off of or fleshful desires, because life here means it really means nothing, because at the end of the day, you should be doing everything that you can, because if you have faith, you're going to make it, like, yes, you should be able to, I keep referencing building your temple, doing everything that you can on earth to please him. That's how I look at it anyway. That's how I live as a man and how I live my life. I know that everything that I'm going to do is to glorify him. I don't care what it is. If he puts a vision in my head, or if I have a dream, or if anything comes out of this book, I know I'm going to believe it. And like you said, like fleshful reality, if you really think about it, like, trying to think of like the right wording for it.
You got this, King.
I'm trying to think.
You got this.
I can do that way.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's just like a different level of like growth, I think, when you are building off of this and not, dude, my biggest thing is, who are you worshiping? Like, who are you waking up every day and I'm chasing after this goal for this person's approval, whether it's a boss's approval or your dad's approval or something? Like, who are you really living for? And if you grow up in a Christian family or whatever belief if you're just glorifying something greater than you and realizing that everyone's going to die, no matter how big and how successful you are, the reality is that we're all going to die. So if you believe in nothing and you get brought into it, it's like, oh, okay. Well, the reality is my grandma just died. And you by the way, you're believing in nothing. And they're like, oh, so where does she go? It's like, doesn't that kind of suck to like feel that empty feeling that there's nothing? So that's why I don't understand atheists, but that's just besides like the fact, because I just believe so strongly in my faith that it's just like there's no other way to live and be truly fulfilled. I guess the thing is, like, happy is temporary, joy is a different thing, and it's just a different way to look at life. In my example, like,
I feel like being happy is a
Yeah.
And I think,
Love isn't a
going back
feeling.
to what you guys were saying, you said something about fleshful desires, right?
They ain't gonna
I
get
think,
you anywhere.
that's another thing that a lot of people in relationships are kind of doing. Well, I don't think that's what they're doing. I don't think they're acknowledging, what their vices are before they even try to get a relationship. Because, if you don't really acknowledge what your vices are, then your relationship will always be at risk to them.
It also depends on what your intentions are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's always good to be serious about your intentions. And you was talking about fulfillment. I said this a while ago. I said, fulfillment, cause like I said, I don't care what religion you're a part of. I got friends who are in different religions. I don't look at them no different because I just care about if you're a good person. Because who am I to tell you if you're not living like God? Now, I'm not God. I'm not better than God. So I know, hey, I can't really dictate if you're living like God or not. But I think fulfillment, and for this includes atheists too. I think one of the biggest ways that you can really be fulfilled is just knowing that you're going to leave one day,
Exactly.
and knowing that you gave everything you had.
Right.
That's kind of what you have to do out here. I mean, I think I don't really mind atheists. I don't really mind if you're agnostic, spiritual, Muslim, Hindu, Buddha, Jewish. I mean, I just really because I know I'm not holier than thou, so I just care about, hey man, if you're good to the people you love, if you're good to other people, if you're good to me and mine. I think good can be pretty subjective. Just don't try to harm me. Just don't try to intentionally harm me, because we may harm people by accident, by the things that we say, sometimes by the things that we do. It may go opposite of what some people may want to do. But if you are someone who just, I think one of the biggest things is you just have to, I think, just know who you are. That'll be the way that you are better, I guess you could say. Because when you don't know who you are, you tend to try literally anything, and you're just walking with a mindset of confusion instead of a mindset of intent. What?
Trying to think of how you worded that.
Oh, you don't want to be in a mindset of confusion. You want to be in a mindset of intent.
Yes.
Because you were talking about intentions.
Yes.
Right? People who know themselves, they really aren't really confused about what their intentions are with any given person, basically.
So you said you're basically fine as long as they don't harm you.
Exactly.
Right?
Well,
So if somebody were to walk up to you and
I
be
figured
like,
I figured out better words.
if somebody were to walk up to you, and assuming that you were humble enough, if somebody were to walk up to you and say, hey, Justin, I saw you doing this, and this. You should do better than that. Would you take that as harm, or would you take that as constructive criticism?
Constructive criticism, because
What if it's somebody you don't know? Would you take it as harmful, or would you take it as okay, this is a wake up?
I take it as constructive criticism, but at the same time, I evaluate my evaluators, because you can't listen to anybody.
Absolutely.
And I have a better wording instead of mindset confusion, mindset intent.
Well, you can listen. You just can't. You don't have to put it in emotion.
Here's another thing too. People look at using people as harmful when it's literally exactly what you're supposed to do. I was talking to him about this because you just got a boat. Shout out to you, my boy. But yeah, I was literally telling him this. Hey, people are gonna, the people you love and the people you actually want around you, they're gonna use you. They're supposed to. All right, you're supposed to be used, especially us as men. We're supposed to be used. The goal is to not be misused.
You want to feel like you have purpose.
Exactly, but you don't want to be misused.
Absolutely. You want to feel valued.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and chosen. Like I said earlier in the episode, you want to be valued, chosen, and respected. That's literally, that's just
That's the most fulfilling thing a man can experience.
Exactly.
We really don't want much else.
Exactly. It helps you feel like you're justifying your existence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just from a emotional state. But you know what, man? I think we had really good episodes, man. Mm-hmm. None of us tried to harm each other, Physically, you know, man, we all feel like we spoke a good amount. You know, I personally, you know, I'm learning new things. I learned a couple of new things today. I've had a lot of fun. I
It was
love my
great.
guys, but you know what, man? I feel like we all did our things today. You know what, man? This has been episode 2 of Justin with Justin Birch. And now when episode 3 is coming out, I have no idea, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in to episode 2. And as always, peace.